And welcome to another Monday. We are back.
We are back. Happy birthday, my friend.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, sir.
What are you, 25, 26?
Let's see. I identify as 22. I act like I'm 12, and I'm actually 48.
Look at you, getting there.
Almost to the 50. Almost
Yeah.
to the 50 mark.
Trust me, don't rush to that.
That's what my wife says. She's older than me.
Yeah, 50. 50 is when I stopped feeling like physically feeling young. It really was the exact moment when all of a sudden I was like, oh, wow. Did I sleep? Every day starts with, did I sleep wrong? In the old days, you could sleep on a couch in anybody's house drunk as hell and you wouldn't think about it, right?
Right.
Now it's like, wake up in the morning like, oh, I must have had the pillow the wrong way on my neck. And it started almost the day I turned 50.
I mean, I understand those feelings already. I mean, obviously, one leg, it's a little bit different. But like, the older you get, the more you realize it's just another stupid ass number.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it was always so exciting. I was celebrating a birthday as a kid, and 15,
Sure.
16, driving a car, 18, 21, drinking some beer. Well, I was doing that before 21.
Shh,
But,
your dad's watching.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was actually 20 when I had my first alcoholic beverage. But,
Well, you should like 48, though. That's a 12. Isn't that one of your numbers?
12 backwards, though. I'm not so sure how that's going to work out for me.
What does that mean, 12 backwards? 4 and 8?
I don't look at it as good luck, as 4 or 8, as opposed to 8 4. If it was 8
Oh,
4,
if it was 8 4. So when you turn 84, that'll be a damn good year?
that would be a damn good year. 74 shouldn't be that bad. 65 shouldn't be that bad.
All right. But 56 will be awful.
Like, I remember 11 was the best year of my life. It was all downhill from there. I'm pretty sure that's accurate.
Well, it's when you stop maturing.
Well, look where I'm at now. I mean, 22, I guess. 22 wasn't bad. 11, that was a good year. But yeah, ever since then, it's been completely downhill. Look at my life, dude. I realized, I'm back from a week of vacation. I did some soul searching on vacation, and I realized so many different things. And they were all bad. Like, they were all just terrible, horrible, terrible, bad, shitty things that I realized when I was on vacation. Now, look, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'll tell you about some of it in a minute. But like, I realized in the midst of, driving all the way down cross country and then all the way back up and seeing all the different states and staying in different places and hotels and looking at life through the lens of people that live in different areas of the country, I said to myself, what the hell did I do to myself? Why am I still here?
Right.
And then I realized, I mean, no offense to my father and everything. I appreciate the happy birthday message, but it's your fault. You brought me here, and I've been stuck here ever since then in the pit of hell known as Cleveland, with shitty sports teams, bad weather, roads that look like they got hit in a nuclear blast, and like trees that suck. I mean, there's nothing pleasant about the city of Cleveland when you look at it. I mean, we have a lake with dead fish in it that roll up onto the shore. That's your beaches. And then there's a rock hall that nobody wants to go to. They don't even do the inductions here. I can't think of a whole lot of good things other than, here's the best part about Cleveland. The best part about Cleveland is Clevelanders, because they have a chip on their shoulder about the city. They love it. And for whatever reason, I can't figure out why. I can't figure out why all these years I've sat here and I've stuck up for the city of Cleveland. It's a cesspool of disaster and horribleness. And like, all it takes is a week away to realize, what the hell am I still doing here? I mean, I saw palm trees. We don't see palm trees here unless they're blow-up ones with pink flamingos that you stick in Parma somewhere.
Right.
What do we have? We have a crappy, again, sports teams, the weather. So what's so great? Why do Clevelanders have such a chip on their shoulder about loving Cleveland so much?
Because it's the underdog.
You're right.
That's why it's the only reason people have the hard chip on their shoulder is because we're the underdog. We're always shit on, so it's like, yeah, we'll show you. It's the ever present "we'll show you" mentality. And Clevelanders, dude, one thing I know and I've lived other places. I lived in California. I lived in Arizona. I've lived in Texas. I've lived a few places, Korea. And the one thing I know is that you probably experienced this just last week, when you leave out of here and you go somewhere else as a Clevelander, people look at you and are like, wow, are you hard? Ease up, pal. They really, and you don't think you're doing it. It's not like you're snapping at anybody. You go into a restaurant and you say, and they bring you water and they only half fill your cup and you go, hey, would you fill the rest of my cup? They're like, oh, easy, sir, easy. Because Clevelanders come off really aggressive
and tough, and I understand that, and I get that. Again, what I said I like about this town is the people. I think the people are fantastic, but and I consider myself one. I wasn't born here, but I consider myself one. I've been here most of my life.
Sure.
And so I think the people of Cleveland are fantastic. But when you look at the aesthetics of Cleveland and what's actually here, you go, why the hell does anybody want to live here? I mean, I guess it's okay. I mean, it's nice to have some seasons. But look, I got a leg now that I can't really walk on snow much in. I mean, it's difficult to walk on snow and ice and all that kind of crap. And, the heat is better for my body and my psyche and everything else. And I think that, I don't know. I mean, and then this perhaps you've heard of this thing called moving. Yes, I have. But the problem is it's not that easy. It's not like, it's not like salaries or such anymore, or that you just pick up and go and say, I'm just going to take a risk and go for it. Because, I mean, I guess I could. I guess I could take a risk because now they have this thing called DoorDashing, and I could probably DoorDash anywhere in the country. And so, we could just take off and DoorDash until we find jobs and that kind of thing. But it's a big risk. And, it's tough to think about taking a risk like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, here's the thing, and I'm not trying to tell you to move or not to move. I mean, that's a personal decision, man. I'll say this, and you're not giving yourself any credit for it, but you should. Probably one of the main reasons the last 10 years that you stayed, two reasons. One, you were on the best radio show in a top market, which it's very hard when your career is radio to walk away from the number one show in a top 25 market. That's really hard to do. And two, you have a kid.
Right.
Nobody wants to yank their kid mid junior high or high school to some other place where they don't know everybody and they got to be the newbie for a year and got to get picked on because they talk different and wear different clothes and, all that different stuff. So those are probably the two reasons that you never even considered it. Well, but your daughter's graduating. You're not locked into a job that you're like, oh, I got to stay here for the rest of my eternity. It's time to think.
Well, continue the conversation shortly, but I do want to say that Jim Renacci, former congressman, businessman, he's now podcaster.
Yes.
Jim Renacci will be joining us at 5:00, so stay here for that.
Cool.
Should be fun. Again, and it might be that, forgive my language, Dad, but that I'm just too much of a pussy sometimes. I'm too scared of what's going to happen because, again, like mentally, I am somewhere in the 18 to 25 range, and I'm like afraid to take that jump and risk and say what's going to happen to me if I just pick up and we just go. We just do what I want to do, and it's go south and hit the road and pack everything up and just go live somewhere else. I mean, I could do this podcast forever. So that doesn't have to change. But it's difficult to just make that decision when you do have a family. It is. And, with my daughter, and like you said, a year out seems like an eternity to me. Right. When, you're looking at it going, again, soul searching over vacation, I realize, what the hell am I doing with my life? I don't have a job currently that's going to land me anywhere higher in this area.
Right.
I mean, I'm certainly not going to progress in the Cleveland market doing what I'm doing. I love what I do. I love Bob's show. I love the company that I work for and everything. But where exactly is that going to land me? I mean,
Yeah, you're
what am
pretty
I
much
doing?
where it's going to land you. That's
it. I'm at
the
where
only
I'm
way it
going.
lands you further is if Bob goes somewhere else. And you go
is he
with
going
him.
to take me? There's no guarantee that he would take me
Yeah,
with him.
that's true.
And so, you know, I mean, he's talked about things that he wants to do, and he's got that ability to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, good for him. But I don't think that he would necessarily let me tag along to be a producer for whatever he decides to do down the road.
Right.
So, where do I go from here? I don't have any kind of retirement set up. I have, no future really in this area. So why not just pick up and go and start trying to build something where I actually want to spend my dying days, if you will.
Yeah.
I'm not getting any younger, obviously, and so it's time to start making some decisions to just do something. I may not be a billionaire, I may not be a millionaire, I may not make a whole hell of a lot more than what I'm making now, but at least I'll be somewhere that I'd be comfortable saying, all right, I'm home for the rest of it.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I'll warn you against is that as somebody that has moved around a little bit, it all seems great when you're on vacation. And then when you get into the real world day to day of it, it comes right back down to earth.
Oh no, I understand that. And we moved around a lot as a family when I was young. I mean, we lived in a lot of different places when I was young. And I was that kid that was, the new kid in school a lot. And so, I get it. And I understand that real life is real life. But it's also real life in a different kind of way. I mean, the routine here, because as you know, I'm extraordinarily routine.
Yeah.
Is something that I just don't want to do anymore. I'm tired of the routine. I'm tired of the restaurants. I'm tired of the same gas station that I go to every day. I'm tired of
you're bored.
The same. I'm extremely bored. And when it comes right down to it, it's really depressing. And it's depressing the shit out of me to the point where, like, I think I'm more depressed now than when I lost my leg. If that can be possible. I am more depressed now with my life, the way that the trajectory is for it, now than I was when I lost my leg.
And
that's pretty fucked.
You need something to look forward to doing. That's really what it is, and other than the podcast.
And well, that's just it. But so I mean, again, I understand vacation is good when you're on it, you have a great time, and then you have to come back to reality, and it is what it is. But the problem is, I felt like this before vacation. It's just something that really opened my eyes. Going, what am I doing here?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm so tired of the same shit routine that I do on a day-to-day basis that it's just massively depressing.
Sure. Well, and that's what I'm saying is you need some, like, I can only speak for myself. I don't speak for anybody else, but I can't wait to start every single day. Why? Because I have so much to do. I've got to run the pinball business. I got to run the starving artist business. I got shows to do. I got interviews to do. I got, this show to do, the Chris Aiken Presents, Classic Metal, all my different shit that I have to do. That's what makes me want to get up and go every day, is that I got so much to do. You don't have that, and the stuff that you do have to do is kind of take it or leave it for you.
Yeah.
Yes? Is that true?
Yeah.
Because, like, I'll give you an example today. Today I interviewed a famous producer that probably won't matter to 90% of this audience. It might to you. I interviewed Fleming Rasmussen, who did the 3 of the 4 great Metallica records.
Yes,
he did Ride the Lightning and Justice for All and Master of Puppets. Arguably the greatest metal album of all time.
Yes.
So I couldn't even sleep last night. I was so excited to talk to this guy, because I was like, I have given this guy thousands of hours of my time to listen to his work. You know what I mean? So to interview him was a big deal. I was excited. I was excited about the day. I was excited that after a week off, me and you were back doing what we do. I was excited about, the I got Chris Aiken Presents later on today. I'm like totally excited about the day. And I have to live that way, because if I don't have here's the difference between me and you. You get depressed, I get drunk. When I am bored, I start drinking, and when I start drinking, bad things happen. And you got to find something that pushes you, that drives you for you, not pushes you, but something that you want to do. And it could be anything. It could be, I have no idea. It could be building birdhouses or something. You might build one and be like, holy shit, this is the greatest thing ever. Now I'm going to build one with 2 windows or whatever. I don't know. I'm just saying, if you have something to get up to that you really want to do, it makes the days go better. If you don't, then you're like, oh my God, why am I in this shitty town watching this shitty team that woke themselves out of their name and has a rapist as their quarterback and blah, blah. You get into negative space because you're focused.
See, here's the problem that I have with what like Joe was saying, and then my dad says, "Well, you are alive." And I get that kind of stuff, but I mean, so that doesn't make it any better. It doesn't make any. I mean, look, yes, of course, it could be worse. My wife could leave me, and something could happen. All this, yes, I understand that there are worse scenarios than what I have. That doesn't mean that I'm happy with what I have, and doesn't mean that I shouldn't go for something different. Yeah, I mean, just because you are okay with some of your life doesn't mean that you should just stand by with what you have.
Let's be clear. Happy. We are just riffing here. We're not talking you off the ledge of a bridge.
Right. I of course, I have a loving wife. I have a fantastic daughter. I have a family that I love and everything else. And that's all great. But what I'm saying is that there are certain things about my life that I feel that I could improve so that I'm happier and so that my wife could be happier. And we would thrive maybe doing something different rather than the same old shit that we always do. My wife asked me today, well, it's your birthday, so decide on what you want for dinner. Whatever you want, we'll go get it. Okay, fine. And I've been sitting here thinking all day about what the hell I want for dinner because I can't think of one goddamn place that I want to go to that we haven't been to 4,000 times and actually sounds good. I mean, like I just threw my hands up and said, I don't care. You guys pick. It doesn't matter to me. Because what difference does it make? It's the same shit that I always eat. So what difference? Who cares? No. I just need something in my life to spice it up a little bit to make it a little bit different. I guess that's all I'm saying. And here anymore doesn't seem like it's doing it for me. I wake up, it's the same routine every single day. For God's sake, I know what time I'm supposed to be at the damn Meyer gas station down the road to pick up my Diet Cokes. It's so damn boring anymore that I just don't want to do it. I'd rather do something somewhere else.
No.
Create a new routine if that's what it is, or go somewhere where I don't have a damn routine, where it's just.
But different. You would wait.
I would still do a routine.
You would start your next routine.
That's fine, but because it would be different. I've done this routine for how many years?
Yeah, but quite honestly, you could easily drive a different way tomorrow.
Yeah,
and not go to that gas station, go to a different gas station and change up your routine.
That's not going to change my life. That's not going to spice up my life.
But you don't know that. It might know that. It might, because you might make a friend with the guy at the place.
Oh, yeah,
well, you don't know. How do you know? You're already saying no to something that's a change.
Hot chick at the counter will want to have massive sex.
I didn't say that you gotta be looking for the Haktua girl. I just said that you gotta, that. What I'm saying is, you're in one breath you're saying how bored you are with life. The other breath you're saying you can't make a change to it. You got to pick one.
I don't know who Fez is.
Fez was Ron and Fez. Yeah, you are sounding like Fez. Fez was perennially depressed.
Look, I'm not perennially depressed. I just had a great time on vacation with my wife and my daughter, and I saw my dad and everything. It was all great. I enjoyed it, but I'm not perennially depressed. What I am is saying that there are things in my life that I think that I need to now do something about to change, because it's getting to the point of just, okay, what am I doing? I'm spinning wheels for nothing. I want a new challenge. I want something different. And I don't think I could find that here. What am I going to go do? I'm going to go work at the Rock Hall. I'm going to go work at the zoo. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I'm not a factory guy. Obviously, now with one leg, I can't just stand there all day long doing factory work. I mean, so what am I going to do? I got to find something else that is positive and exciting to get up for on a day-to-day basis to do it with my life.
Sure.
And I'm sorry if you think that I'm sounding depressed. I'm not depressed to the point of like I'm gonna, like you said, to jump off a bridge, but I am depressed to the point that I need to make some changes.
Sure.
I mean, call it a midlife crisis, call it whatever the hell you want, but something's got to be different. That's all I'm saying.
Well, two things. One, it probably is a little midlife crisis because it's your birthday and you're looking at the back half instead of the front half now. There's no denying that.
Okay, I've been looking at the back half since I was 30. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, well, but now it gets a little more real as you get older, man. Because as you get older, you're like, yeah, if I get 10 more, I'm good. You start really thinking like that, and you start really thinking about how fast years go now. And you're like, oh boy, this is coming quicker than I would like to. So there's that. And number two, not for nothing, coming off of a vacation is always depressing.
I understand that too, but isn't that the time to then say, all right, now it's time to make some changes? Because I know how I feel, and I know that, again, I'm not aiming towards anything here. There's nothing that I'm sitting here going, all right, I got this goal, that goal. There's nothing to accomplish other than just sitting here doing the same shit on a day-to-day basis, making the same money, doing the same crap that I'm always doing, and it doesn't change. It's not going to change. And so, why not change it? Why not just say, okay, I'm going to do something totally different.
Yeah.
I'm going to go completely outside the box of my routine. I'm going to go say, fuck it. We're moving. We're taking off. We're going to sunshine. We like water. We're going to go near water. We're going to go somewhere and start life a little bit fresh.
Yeah. Dude, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm
tired of door dashing, dude. I fucking hate it.
Well, then don't do it.
But it's extra money. It's extra money that we need. It's extra money that helps pay the bills and helps us live a lifestyle that we want to live.
It ain't the only job.
But it is. When you have the jobs that I already work 2 other jobs. And so, it's something it just continually have to do to try to survive. And I'm tired of surviving. I want to live. And I've been surviving. Dude, you don't know. Great. It's fantastic. I was on a fantastic #1 radio show in Cleveland. You know the shit money that company paid me?
Oh, yeah, I know.
I mean,
I definitely know that. I
was borderline living on the streets with the money that show, #1 show in Cleveland, is paying me.
Yeah, I worked there. I know they pay nothing.
So what am I aiming towards? I'm tired of surviving. I want to start living. And that's what I've been doing for literally 20 years in this business. Is sitting there going, all right, I'll take that paycheck and we'll pay off this bill, that bill, and then on to the next. It's just, when I was drinking, I started out being able to afford Jaeger, and then I stopped drinking when I was able to afford crap fucking $6 vodka from the gas station. All right.
A quart of Paramount, please.
So I want to just start aiming a little bit higher than what I have. And again, I felt this way before vacation, but vacation kind of opens your eyes a little bit and saying, look, there's a whole world out there that's not just Cleveland, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
With so many things to do, so many opportunities, so many chances to do something maybe fun or different. I don't know. Or maybe doing radio is still something I could do, but maybe doing it somewhere on a beach.
Yeah, well, there's always that. I mean, there is definitely that. Take a laptop to the beach and do the Seth Williams show live from the ocean or something.
Thank you, Bob. Bob gets it. Bob's one-legged guy. He's joined the club with me. Good man. He moved south before.
Yeah.
He lived in Florida, Georgia, whatever, Atlanta. Sounds like shit or get off the pot. That's what I'm saying. When it feels like it's time to do something or just shut up and just die in Cleveland.
Yeah, well,
that may sound like a miserable attitude to have, but I mean that's
but it's always that time whenever you want to make a change. It's easy to say, well, there's this and there's that and there's this and there's that. Any of us can say that there's this and there's that to not make a change. If you want to make a change, you just got to do it. You just got to say, I might be homeless tomorrow, but I'm doing it.
You need to go to the strip club, book the champagne room, party like a rock star for 1 night. You'll feel better.
Probably not, because then you'll want to do that full time.
Your
wife will close that down.
That'll be the routine. I don't hate everything. Why are people saying that? I don't look. I don't say that I hate everything. What I'm saying is, don't you people out there have any kind of like aspiration other than what you're doing? And if you don't, maybe you're happy where you're at. I'm not happy where I'm at. I think my
so you
life
gotta change
should.
it.
I think my life should be better at this point in my life.
I mean,
should have had. Look, when I was on MMS, they did these perceptual studies, whatever you want to call them,
sure.
back in the day. We're talking, 22 years ago, 23 years ago, whatever it was. And Seth was the number one most recognized DJ on MMS at the time, dude. My boss put a shit into that and stuck me back on overnights and just destroyed me on that radio station.
Right.
I was doing traffic for a year. Then I was on the number one freaking show in town with Triv, dude, for like 13 years. 13 years.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Okay. He passes away, unfortunately, and then they decide to fire me. But where has that resume gotten me? Nowhere.
Where have you put it?
Not a fucking thing. I applied to many jobs
outside of Cleveland.
Outside of Cleveland, many, nothing. Mm-hmm. And then I'm on a good show now, very popular show. Bob Fred's show is very popular. He does a great job, and I love being on it. Love doing what I do. Love the company that I work for. But ultimately, is it going to help me with anything? I don't know. And I feel like my trajectory of my career started way high, and then kind of went downward. And it hasn't gotten any better. It's leveled off at best. And I need to do something because I feel like I should be doing something better than I am.
Well, maybe
I feel like my path in life is meant for better than sitting here doing what I'm doing.
Well, maybe the course is that you got to get out of radio completely.
Maybe.
Not because of the skill, but because of the to achieve what you want. Well, just to achieve what you want to achieve in life.
Yes.
Radio can't afford that. Maybe you got to go and maybe you got to go start taking a class one day a week just to get a different skill that could pay you $40, $50 an hour, that gives you more of what you want. And that's more portable and payable. Because, you can go anywhere and work a board. You could be a board op anywhere in the country, but making $12 an hour ain't going to fucking help you.
Well, that's just it. What is that going to do for me?
That's what I'm saying.
But if I was going to make $15 an hour running a board somewhere, I'd rather do it on a beach.
Maybe, but you wouldn't be. You'd still be in a studio somewhere, and you'd be in an expensive studio somewhere. Because I guarantee the cost of living in Florida is a whole lot more than here.
Bob, I was so scared the month before I left Boardman, a week after we moved, overwhelmed with excitement. See?
Yeah, dude, I'm there. Dude, this is exactly why, everybody asks me all the time why I have 400 fucking businesses that I do. The reason is exactly that reason, because I get bored. I can't just work 8. If I work 40 hours, truth be told, if I worked 40 hours a week, just 40 hours a week for somebody else, I would end up in jail because I would use all that other time to do stupid things. I would use all that extra time that I use now to do this or that, or, all my shows and all my stuff would be used to drink and party and drive drunk and end up killing somebody or what, that would happen. That would happen because I wouldn't have focus and I wouldn't have anything to look forward to. So what would I do? I would start using drugs again. I would start being a partier again, and I would end up in trouble. For me, I need the busy, and I look forward to the busy. I've personally built a life that allows me to do what I want to do the way I want to do it, where I'm satisfied. You got to find that. And it may not be my path. You don't have to mimic my path, but you got to find your path where you're excited every single day about getting up. Every single day.
And who said it? Somebody said they're starting to get depressed. Oh, there it is. Haboo. I'm starting to get depressed. Look, what I'm trying to do is get excited. I'm not trying to be depressed. I'm not trying to depress anybody else. I'm trying to say, like, if you are out there and you are stuck in some kind of rut, maybe it's time to change. I think for me, it's time to change it. Now, who knows? 2 weeks from now, I could be sitting here doing the same fucking podcast and be
Okay.
happy as shit and just in my routine again and forgetting about everything that I just said today. But I hope not. I hope that I'm trying to make progress. If nothing else, I'm going to try to make progress into changing things that I want to change.
Sure.
And I think that that's a better step, at least a step forward for me, as opposed to just sitting back and doing the same routine. I'm going to update my resume. I'm going to start pushing stuff out there, and I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to look at openings in the areas of the country that I want to live in, whether it's radio or not radio, and see what I'm qualified for. See if I can get something. I'm going to at least make some steps. Whether it works or not, I have no idea.
No.
But I feel like to get excited about my life and excited about where I want to be 10 years from now, then I need to do something different.
No. I completely agree with Jake here. Maybe that's your calling.
Maybe. But I'd like to do it in a different part of the country.
Which is fine.
Maybe that would be too.
Maybe you get involved with something on a national level where you can live anywhere.
Yes. Or something, maybe I can travel doing a job, whatever. But I just feel like I need to start making some changes for the betterment of my mental health to, get excited about life again and at least do something that I want to do.
Yeah.
I love radio. I do love it. I would do it the rest of my life if I could do it the rest of my life. But it also has to get me to the point that I can at least live without having to sit there and go, all right, I got to go door dashing again. How much we got to make this week? I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to sit back at night and say, good, I'm relaxed. I can sit back and chill and have dinner and enjoy my life. And I don't need $1 billion, dude. I don't need to be a millionaire. I don't need that kind of stuff. That's not what I'm asking for. I don't need to win the lottery. I want to sit back and relax a little bit. And I want to sit back and relax in a place that I like.
Yeah. I don't blame you. But the real key is you got to take that step.
I know. Call Travis Mills. Go work for him. Absolutely. That's something that I had never even thought about. That's a hell of an idea.
Yeah, see what you could do for him. See if there's anything that you could do, and just tell him you don't want to do it in Cleveland. You want to do it in South Carolina or Florida or Arizona or Texas or wherever.
So you need to pray and tell God your situation, let God place you where He has planned for you. I'll pray for you and Heather and your daughter. Loves you all. And I appreciate that, Natalie. I truly do. And I'm not trying to come off as some sort of like lunatic, depressed a-hole. What I'm saying is that I've reached a point in my life that I feel like changes need to be made. Right. I'm sure that how many people, I'm sure you've been in that spot, right? Where you just said, all right, I need to make some changes one way or the other. This has got to change.
Dude, my divorce, my whole book on my divorce is exactly that. I used that exact moment when I knew my life had to change anyway to change everything. That's when I changed. I stopped hating myself. I listed everything I hated about myself and I fixed them. I literally wrote a list, everything I hated about myself and my situation and my life. And I just started ticking them off. I didn't like this. I didn't like this. I didn't like this. And I started fixing shit. And that's what I did. That was my year, 2012 and 2013. I spent a year fixing everything that I didn't like. And to be honest, now if you look at everything that I've accomplished since then, before then I had Aiken IT. That was my existence. Get up, sit on my couch, work 18 hours a day, go to sleep, repeat. That was my whole existence. After that, built Pinball PA, started Starving Artist, built the podcast network, built 3 different shows back up, wrote 6 books, working on a 7th. All of that has happened in 11 years. 3 businesses, 7 books. 11 years. That's a lot, man.
Yeah.
That's but it happened because I made the changes.
Look, and I respect the hell out of you for doing that stuff. And I sit back and look at my life and go, what the hell have I done? Nothing compared to that. Nothing. I have been a person who has pretty much taken the easy way and the easy road as much as I possibly could. And I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to take the easy road. I want to do something different.
Sure.
Because what I'm doing now, the easy road would be to just sit back, relax, do what I'm doing, quit complaining about it, and stay in status quo and just be kind of happy.
Well,
But I don't want to be kind of happy. I want to be actually happy.
but you just got to find what it is. I mean, dude, just as an example, something that I know you could do, and you probably never put it in your head for real. I'm sure it's been mentioned to you because I've mentioned it to you. You ought to write a book about going through losing your leg. You should write a book. And Lord knows you got people that can help you with that. Certainly, I've published a couple of books. Your dad's published a bunch of books. You got a lot of people that know a lot about writing around you that would be more than happy to help. But you got to do it. You
Right.
can't wait for somebody else to.
Well, that's been my problem for like my entire life. Is I always sit back and wait
No.
for something to happen as opposed to actually going and doing something. And
No,
where has waiting gotten me? Waiting has gotten me
nowhere, because nobody, dude, there's nobody that's going to ever help. There's nobody that's ever going to carry you. You know what? That stopped the day you squirted out of your mom. That was the last time anybody's gonna do that.
I'm way too fat to carry, anyways.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yes, I know what
It's
you're
done, man. It's nobody's carrying you, man. You got to carry your own water, as they say.
Seth is the only person who has seasonal depression during the summer.
All right, let's
You know why?
change
Because
directions
there's
here.
a better summer out there.
Well,
There's
it's
a better
hotter one.
summer. It's called Florida.
It's
They
hotter.
have palm trees. And yes, you know what? The first 10 minutes I was out in that heat, I was like, why the fuck did I decide to come to Florida for vacation at the end of June? And then 20 minutes later, I was like, you know what? This heat ain't that bad. I started to notice I was getting a little tan. I started getting some sun. I was happy.
Right.
What are we changing the subject to?
Your vacation, because Jim's going to be on in 20 minutes. So
Oh, that's right.
so if you're going to talk about your vacation, you better do it.
I don't know what to say. It was a great vacation. We had a lot of fun. Disney is, I was getting a lot of shit from people about going to Disney because of their politics.
Yeah.
How could you go to Disney and give them all that money to the woke Disney corporation? You know what? Those people at Disney were the nicest people you could possibly have. And they took care of a guy with one leg and made it a very fun trip for me and my wife to go on. Now, the politics I still don't like, but I could work there and be happy too. The Disney park, we went to Hollywood Studios.
Okay.
Those Star Wars rides there are the most amazing rides I've ever been on in my entire life.
That's cool.
I don't know. You've never been.
I've never been. And Star Wars ain't my deal, but
It was amazing. It was truly amazing. The only problem that I had with the parks, we went to Hollywood Studios and we went to SeaWorld. And for a disabled person, you need to rent like a scooter because you ain't getting around these parks.
it's way too big.
It's way too big for me to walk these things. So Disney charged $85 for a scooter. Now they gave you 20 of that back after you returned it and everything else.
Okay.
And I felt like, this homo dude, because like they make you fill out a little license plate and you put it on.
Ugh.
There's like Mickey Mouse on the license plate, and it's like, oh, this is my scooter, and I put my new name
It's
on
Happy
it.
Seth. Look at you.
But it was cool because like they would let you go through like all the lines for like the rides. I didn't wait more than an hour for any line, but you just drive the scooter right on through the line, and you get to the ride. I transfer myself, walk to the ride, and get on, and at the end of the ride, outside the thing is my scooter sitting right there. They would move it for you and take it out for you and put it at the end of the thing for you. It was fantastic. We had
But
lunch.
you paid dearly for that, though.
$65.
Oh, that's not too bad. That ain't so bad.
And then we lunch there. It cost us. We each got sandwiches, fries, and drinks for lunch, and it was $35 total.
I mean, that's not bad at all, really.
I spend that much here
Yeah, I was gonna say.
for lunch.
I was gonna say you get a sandwich from Jersey Mike's. It costs you that.
Yeah, and so I mean, it wasn't that bad actually. Prices there, other than if you wanted a souvenir, forget about it. You might as well sell your car to to get something that looked like a stormtrooper helmet. I mean, it was
Right.
for souvenirs. But so Disney was actually pretty fun. We got on all the rides, and that was good. Then we went to SeaWorld the following day.
Okay.
Now we get to SeaWorld, and we went online the night before to reserve like a scooter.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, all right, now I'm all about the scooter thing.
Sure.
And to reserve one. And they said they had none available.
Ugh.
So we reserved a wheelchair.
Okay.
Now we get there, and you have to walk through the gate and then walk like literally a quarter mile, half mile to get to this like hut that has like the scooters and everything.
Okay.
And there's a line forever waiting to get these things.
Right.
One girl, it was so hot, there's no air conditioning inside this hut. One girl passed out while we were standing in line. Just all of a sudden drops. And then people are not very friendly, just walk right over her so they can get their scooters or chairs or whatever.
Sorry you're dying, but I need my scooter.
Nobody gave a shit about them dying. This poor girl dying on the floor. And so we get up to the front. Oh, yeah, we see reserved a wheelchair. It wasn't 35 seconds that I was sitting in this wheelchair and my poor wife was trying to push me that she was like, we have to leave. She could not push me in a wheelchair. Plus, there's like hills and everything. So I asked, and they happened to have some extra scooters, so it was fine. But they made us pay the balance. You know how much a scooter cost me at SeaWorld?
How much?
Mind you, Disney. Now, Disney Corporation was $65.
So is it more than Disney?
Yes.
$90.
$135. Not 1 cent of it was refundable.
Oh my God!
I got discounted tickets at the hotel that we were staying at, so I paid for 2 tickets to SeaWorld. I paid $140. I paid the same amount for a fucking scooter, so I could actually not have to walk the entire park.
Wow!
And not 1 cent of it was refundable. We went to lunch at SeaWorld. We got again Disney, 2 sandwiches, fries, drinks. $35. SeaWorld, 2 burgers, fries, drinks. $70.
Oh my God.
Everything was double the price at SeaWorld compared to Disney.
Well, was it double the fun?
No. Because there you weren't allowed to actually, ride the scooter through the lines and everything else. So if I wanted to ride the rides, I had to stand up and stand there for an hour and a half while in line.
So if you went into something like the orca exhibit or the orca park or whatever they call that, did you have to worry about somebody stealing your scooter?
Well, with the shows, we did go to the orca show. And so that one we were able to, they have like handicapped spots that I could just wheel it right on in. They drive it right up on the handicapped spot and sit there. So that wasn't that bad, but the rides, you were screwed.
Jeez. What rides do they have at SeaWorld?
Well, actually, it reminded me more of like, remember when we had Jogga Lake on one side of the lake and then SeaWorld on the other side?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was like a combo. I mean, they had roller coasters and like a big needle thing that went all the way up, and they had like, like the water rides with the raft and all the log rides and all that kind of crap. So they had all that kind of stuff. But then one thing about Florida, man, when a thunderstorm hits, it ain't like here. We don't get thunderstorms. We get like lightning with a little rumble.
A little bit of rain for 10 minutes.
And rain. They get thunderstorms. And we were trapped by this thunderstorm for like 45 minutes standing underneath the hut waiting for this rain to subside to like a minor downpour. But it was all right. The real fun came when we went to Charlotte. I know we got Jim Renacci coming up here in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, we got time.
So Orlando was great. We had a lot of fun going to Orlando. We went to Hooters. You ever heard of Twin Peaks?
The show?
No, they have a restaurant called Twin Peaks.
Oh, no, I've never been
It's
there.
basically a Hooters, only they wear different outfits. Twin Peaks, meaning, the chest.
Yeah. Tits?
Yeah, so we went there. The Hulk Hogan store was fantastic.
Right.
I
saw you took some pictures from the Hulk Hogan store.
I do have a lot of pictures on Facebook from the vacation. I was that annoying, dumb bastard that puts all this vacation up there. And like, first picture I took got like 200 and some likes. Oh, on vacation time, everybody's liking it.
Right, sure.
And the Hulk Hogan store was like 100 and some likes. Everybody's liking it. Disney was like 60 some likes. By the time I got to put my SeaWorld pictures up there, like I got 15 fucking likes. I was like, all right, enough of the pictures.
Yeah, people are done with you at that point.
People are done with the pictures. That or Zuckerberg has a problem with SeaWorld and thinks that animals get abused and all that kind of stuff and didn't want to push it out there.
Yeah. Or they don't pay him enough.
Right. So then we went to Charlotte. My daughter's looking at a college just outside of Charlotte. UNC Charlotte, I think is where she is looking at possibly going. And she wanted to see the downtown. So we stayed at a really nice Hyatt place downtown Charlotte.
Okay.
And downtown there, you want to talk? Yeah, another reason why you come back here and go, what the hell am I doing in Cleveland? Cleveland's downtown. Other than the fact that they're filming Superman there, has nothing going on. I know that, whatever the Cleveland, I don't know what their organization tell you how positively Cleveland or whatever it is. Move to Cleveland. Everything's great. Yeah. Well, you get shot if you go downtown.
Yeah, as I say, that's why nothing's going on in downtown Cleveland, because you're afraid of getting killed.
Yes. Hopefully Superman is impervious to bullets because he's filming in downtown Cleveland. But downtown Charlotte was absolutely beautiful. Trees everywhere, and it's clean. Everything. People walking around. It wasn't like Cleveland where they walk around one street. Everybody walks down Euclid and thinks that.
Or 9th Street.
Yeah, you walk down like 2 streets down from Euclid, and you're getting a hooker and shot.
That's right.
Or you're going to find homeless people peeing on the ground. I did that, and I did not do that. I found somebody doing that.
Right.
But yeah, downtown Charlotte, fantastic. We stayed at this really nice Hyatt place, and this is now the hotel starts on the 10th floor,
right,
of this building. Below that is like office stuff, and so the lobby for the hotel is actually on the 10th floor of this building.
Okay.
Then of course we had to go up floors,
right,
to
get
get
your
to our room.
Okay.
Beautiful room, fantastic. And again, nice city. My daughter and my wife actually went out for a walk and picked up some Chinese food downtown, brought it back to the hotel late at night, and so they thought it was safe and nice and beautiful, and everything's great. Bed was comfy, sleeping like a rock, man, until about 6:20 in the morning. And now alarms are going off throughout the entire building. And I'm like, I thought it was my phone alarm. At first, I'm like throwing my phone across the room, like, shut the hell up. But no, it was somebody smelled gas, pulled the fire alarm.
Okay.
At which point, there's this woman who's coming across the loudspeaker saying, everybody must evacuate the building immediately. This is not a drill. And says, do not use the elevators. You must evacuate the building. Do not use the elevators, blah, 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 blah. Now, we're pretty high up, man.
Right.
I got one leg. And people are literally like running down halls to get to the stairwells and stuff. I get on this stairwell, and I'm freaking out, dude. Stairs are not my forte with my prosthetic.
Right, sure.
And so I'm going down as quickly as I can. Now, all of a sudden, as I'm making my way down these stairs, one stair at a time, because you can't go more than one stair at a time with this leg, the lights go out in the middle of the stairwell.
Oh, my God.
So now it's like dark, and then lights will come back on. They're flickering. They're going back off.
Jesus, it's like 9/11.
Yeah, it's hot as balls in the stairwell. So nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows that somebody smelled gas and pulled a fire alarm. So we're thinking there's a fire because it's getting hot in there and lights are going off. And people are, there's people from the hotel actually walking with us down the stairs telling us, got to get out, got to get out. And I realized, so I'm going down the stairs, and all of a sudden I miss a stair, dude.
Ugh.
And I just go tumbling. Ouch. And so now I'm looking up at this line of people that's behind me, and there's probably 2 floors of people that are behind my slow ass trying to get out of this building. So now I'm just standing off to the side, letting all these people go, because if I'm going to die, at least, these people will get out. At least it's the handicapped guy that's going to perish in flames. Right. And so I'm letting all these people go, and they were nice. They weren't like, get the hell out of our way, you dumb, fat, handicapped guy. They were nice, but I get behind again. I start going down the stairs. I trip again, and so I'm sore as shit. And I get to the 2nd floor, and one of the ladies from the hotel comes over and says, oh, we think everything is clear, so if you want to take the elevator now, you can. Oh, all right, I just went down 22 flights of fucking stairs, and now I'm on the 2nd floor, right? And you say that it's okay to go ahead and take the elevator.
Great, I'll take that down that one. I'll take it that one flight. Thanks.
I don't trust you to begin with.
Right.
How do I know? So I walk outside. I'm next to death when I get out there. And as soon as I walk out, the fireman goes, "All right, everything's clear. You can go back up." Get the hell out of here. I sat in a chair because, again, there was a long line to get back on the elevators and get up there. But I thought, after thinking about it, what if I was in a wheelchair? What if I didn't have my leg and I was in a wheelchair? I would have been dead up there.
Yeah?
Because they had no way of getting anybody down.
That's crazy. That's just nutty. I mean, I can't believe they don't have any system in place for somebody that's handicapped.
I mean, somebody said you can give up the radio thing because now you can just sue them and own Hyatt. Maybe I should.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think you'd own Hyatt, but you get a nice little settlement.
I mean, literally, I have not been able to walk real good for the past 4 days.
Oh, from the pounding of the steps?
From the stairs and tripping. I mean,
right.
Everything from my neck and shoulders to my legs are completely just like rubber still.
Right.
I don't know. My luck, I'll need a doctor's note. I ain't go to doctor. So.
Yeah, well, how do you prove it?
Well, I mean, my wife and daughter were there. I mean, there were people there.
Yeah. But their answer would be like, well, you already lost your leg. How do we know that you weren't feeling this way before? Because you didn't go to the doctor.
Yeah, no. That should have been my second stop on the way home.
Yep. Urgent care or something.
See?
I agree.
I mean, I don't know. What would they do if...
Dude, I don't know. I mean, they are required to
have
provide
handicap access, right?
Yeah. To take care of handicapped people. You can't tell somebody in a wheelchair to fucking walk down steps.
Right. So I don't know. I mean, nobody gave me another option. Again, I was with people from the hotel. I mean, one of the ladies who, because we finally got back in the elevator and went up, and they still had their continental breakfast going on. So we stopped on the floor to have some breakfast. And
yeah, well, at least you got a bagel out of it.
Oh, yeah, I got sausage. But one of the ladies from the hotel couldn't speak English, right?
Oh, that's good, too.
And so she's talking to my daughter, and she used her phone as like a translator thing to talk to my daughter, which is kind of a cool technology kind of thing. It was kind of neat that she did that.
Right.
But she said that she was praying for me and my family and all this kind of, and I appreciate that. I guess it was very nice of her to do so, but it would have been nice to use that translator thing to tell me how to get the fuck out of your hotel without having to go down 22 flights of stairs.
Right.
So I guess it was a good vacation. Didn't end on the greatest of notes, but it was a nice. We also spent a night in St. Augustine. Okay. Which I'll tell you what, if I had my choice of moving, I'd move there tonight. I'd pack up my shit right now and move to St. Augustine.
Why?
Because it was just beautiful down there. And then it was right on the water, obviously, and they had like all these different bars, restaurants, and everything was just beautiful architecture, and it was just really, really nice. A beautiful place to live.
Right.
Prices for homes are like $800,000 to $1 million. But
is that all?
That's it.
See, that's the big problem moving south is you got to pay a lot more.
Now, the other thing that I forgot to mention that we did on vacation that was probably, and I hate to say it, one of my favorite things that we did.
Yeah.
Next to, of course, like the theme park stuff, was a gas station, dude.
Okay.
We went to Buc-ee's to two different Buc-ee's. You ever heard of Buc-ee's?
From you.
These things are as big as like Walmart's, dude.
Okay.
The one in Texas is supposedly the biggest one, but these things are ginormous, and they have anything you possibly want in there. Anything. Grills.
So it's really just a superstore with gas pumps?
And I'm talking like 100 gas pumps. I mean, they have gas pumps.
Okay.
And they sell candies. They sell the best food they've ever eaten.
Nice.
They have delis. They have bakeries. They have souvenirs, like outrageous souvenirs. I got like, I love hoodies, so I got myself a hoodie. I got myself a big 5X Buc-ee's hoodie. Guess how much it costs?
$75.
$23, dude.
Wow.
Everything there was extremely affordable, and it was a tourist attraction in itself. Just going to the gas station.
Nice.
I could have spent all day at the gas station.
That's a tour. That's a tour story.
The fucked up thing is we walked out of it. We spent $100 at the first Buc-ee's we went to, and $100 at the second Buc-ee's we went to. And the first Buc-ee's we went to, I walked out and I realized we forgot to get gas. We were at the gas station, and we spent $100, and I didn't get a nickel in gas.
That's hilarious. That's pretty funny.
So yeah, Marcus knows Buc-ee's. It's like the best place ever, man. I think they built one or are building one in Ohio here, like somewhere down south, but Cincinnati, Dayton area, somewhere around there. If it's open, you got to find out and you got to go. It's like a road trip kind of thing, dude. It's almost like you have to do it to be a man.
All right. It is coming to Huber Heights, Ohio, wherever that is. Ohio's getting its first ever Buc-ee's, but city leaders are still making final plans before construction can begin. When was this dated? Yeah, this is earlier this year, so it's probably starting to be built. Somewhere near Dayton.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not really familiar with Buc-ee's.
Our guest is supposed to be on, but we'll see.
All right, you want to take a break for a minute? Play a quick commercial and then come back?
I guess if we have to, on a roll, having fun, but you want to be the downer and play some commercials. I guess we should.
Well, we don't have to.
We need to get Buc-ee's to advertise so we can go there for free.
Well, you can go there for free.
Hey, look, Bob knows Buc-ee's. 10,000 different beef jerky. I came home with a copious amount of beef jerky. And these things they call beaver nuggets. I don't even know what they are, but I have some and I'm going to eat them.
Do you want to know what they are?
I don't, but I'm going to eat them. All right, go ahead and take a break. We'll
take a quick break and then we'll be back, I guess, with Jim Renacci. Hang tight.
There's plenty of places to experience the Seth Williams Show, but if you want all the content, you need to join us on Minds. Get all the live episodes of the show every Monday and Wednesday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. Get the special bonus footage every Wednesday from 5:30 to 6 p.m. Get bonus content from Seth and Chris as it's produced. It's only $4.99 per month, so don't wait. Sign up today. Visit us at www.minds.com/Seth Williams Show.
And right back here on the Seth Williams Show with Chris Aiken. And we do have our guests lined up. Businessman, politician, and now podcaster.
Wow.
Mr. Jim Renacci joins us. How are you today, sir? Hang on, let me pull you up.
Click him in there.
There you go. Mr. Renacci, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
We are fantastic. Fantastic. Good to have you on. Good to see you.
Well, thank you for having me.
These are exciting times that we live in. I want to ask you about some of the stuff that's going on. But you are now a podcaster and it debuts tonight. Am I correct?
Yes, it is. We have the Buckeye War Room coming out tonight. We're going to be talking about issues related to Ohio. We're going to continue to really, look, I live and breathe Ohio. I've been an Ohioan for the last 40 plus years. I think we're still going in the wrong directions in many ways. So I just want to continue to talk to people, make sure they understand, talk about some of the issues that are affecting Ohioans and voters. Too often, as we know, people wait right until the day before election and say, now, who do I vote for and what's going on?
Right.
Well, the problem now is we don't have I think there's one obvious choice after watching that debate the other night, but I think the problem is now people have their minds made up. But I think that's what a podcast can do. I mean, you're there to help change people's minds and give people the information. And let me tell you, this podcast thing is kind of fun.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. And look, you're right. And sometimes it's not changing the minds of those that are already dug in. I still believe when it comes to Trump and Biden, I just said this on the radio. 46% are going to be with Trump no matter what. 46% are going to be with Biden no matter what. It's 8% in the middle who are still trying to figure it out. They don't like either candidate. And some of them are saying, I'm probably not even going to vote. So, it's convincing them of some of the issues and making sure they understand that their vote is important.
Sure. Jim, how do you convince people? I want to go back to what you started with. How do you convince people to not pay so much attention to the TV politics, meaning the presidential race, and really dig into Ohio? Because we have enough problems here in Ohio. We really don't need to worry about the presidential race as much as we need to worry about guns in the streets of Cleveland, or the price of our groceries, or our roads, or our construction projects. How do you convince people to take their eye off the big prize and look at home first? Because that's what we need desperately.
Well, see, and I would 100% agree with you. One of the reasons I left Washington after 8 years, I could still be there. But the problem is being there and getting nothing accomplished and seeing Ohio going in a horrible direction. I still believe that the best place to fix our entire country is at every state, and to make sure that the states are operating properly, make sure that they have the power. Remember, 200 plus years ago, the states gave the federal government limited power. The problem is the federal government has now taken aggressively more power than they really should have, and the states need to take it back. Here's the big problem, though. When you take a state like Ohio, that 30 or 40% of what it brings in is federal dollars, so it has to listen to the federal government.
Right.
The real answer is tighten your belt, which I know Ohioans don't want to hear, but you can still tighten your belt, get away from the federal requirements, and get the state back to where it should be from a spending model. I used to travel around the state. Florida, which is twice our size, spends about $10 billion more than we do. I mean, it's amazing how much money we spend in Ohio. And it's funny, people say, well, that's because we have to solve our roads. No, it's not because we have to solve our roads. It's because of a lot of other things like Medicaid expansion and a few other issues that are just, that we're spending ourselves using federal money.
And see, the problem, and I think you're absolutely right, Jim, the problem is that a lot of people don't even understand how our government was formed. They think, we're a democracy. We're not. We're a democratic republic. And the states should have the rights, and people don't seem to understand that. When Trump comes out and says abortion should be with the states, I mean, that's the way this government was formed. That's what it should be about. And the problem that we have here in Ohio is that we're a mainly Republican base, yet we have a governor who kind of leans a different way sometimes, and a state house that leans a different way sometimes. And so I think politics are just kind of getting mixed up, and I don't know how we fix it.
Well, it's even worse than that. We have 8 million registered voters. We have approximately, give or take, it changes every primary, which is another problem we have, but about 1 million Republicans, 1 million Democrats, and 6 million independents. Those are all rounded numbers, but the majority of people in Ohio are independents who actually, and then we have another problem, which is only about 20% of those that are eligible to vote. I mean, in the last primary, we only had 20% turnout. That's just amazing.
No. Well, what can we as people do, Jim? And I mean, other than voting, I mean, the obvious is, of course, you get out and vote. But what can I do today to help my community, which then helps my state? Is it going to like a town hall, or is it, helping pick up trash? I mean, what is it that people could do to make change in our state to help make that movement start?
Well, I got to tell you that the number one thing they need to do is just understand the problems. I mean, there are so many issues that just little things like I don't know how we do this, but I'm going to give you a perfect example. We used to pay our lieutenant governor $60,000 a year, and that individual used to only really be involved when the governor was sick, or the governor was ill or stepped down or wasn't available. And that's why it was really just a part-time position. Today, and a lot of people aren't aware of this, we pay our lieutenant governor $184,000, and he travels around the state, and basically has a full staff of $1 million worth of more spending today to basically campaign to be the next governor. Well, that's not the way the system should have been. So I tell people that, and they'll go, well, I didn't know that. How does that happen? And then my answer is, well, you haven't been paying attention. So it's just those little things, paying attention. But I got to tell you, you could go to all of the events out there, the Republican events. Nobody will talk about those things because we do have a Republican majority. And a lot of times people say, well, I'm a Republican. I really don't want to talk about some of the issues with Republicans. Well, we have to, because our state isn't going in the right direction. And let's take it. Let's look at House Bill 6, one of the largest bribery scandals in the country. And it was under a Republican administration, under a Republican governor, under a Republican Speaker of the House. Nobody wants to talk about it. But we should, because Democrats have also had bribery issues in Ohio, because Ohio is one of the, I call it a pay-for-play state. So let's talk about it. Let's figure out how it happens, and let's fix it. And if it's the Republicans causing the problems, well, then we got to fix it, even if we are Republicans. But everybody wants a high when it comes to Republicans, and they don't want to talk about the problems because we have had a Republican majority for, well, it's going to be on 16 years here pretty soon.
Right. Let me play devil's advocate to that just for a second, Jim. And I agree with you, but I want to offer the other side and see what you think. If Republicans admit a failing, then that becomes a talking point in every campaign ad and everything, to where actually trying to do good by admitting a mistake and fixing it becomes a negative toward keeping their position. No?
Absolutely. And that's the problem. But that means we don't fix the state. But what's the best time to do it? If the Guardians are, 50-20, and they're playing a team that's, 20-50, what's the best time to change things up in the lineup? When you're playing a weak team. Well, we're playing a weak team with the Democrats right now in Ohio. If the Democrats were strong, they would already be taking advantage of some of these issues, but they're not. So as Republicans, we know we have a strong Republican situation today. Let's fix it while we still do. That's what I believe in. There are some out there that would say, oh, no, we can't do that. Well, guess what? One of these days, the Democrats are going to become stronger because they're going to eventually figure out a way to become stronger. They did when it came to issue 1 last year. That was a Democrat issue. They figured it out and they became pretty strong and they won. We'll see what they do this year in the Senate race. You're going to have Sherrod Brown, who's pretty much the top of the ticket, running a Senate campaign. And if he's successful in winning, he'll show people how the Democrat can win in Ohio. I'm not sure who's going to win that race. I'm hoping that it's Bernie Moreno, but in the end, it's going to be really tough to defeat Sherrod Brown because he's going to have the money, he's going to have the infrastructure, and he's going to use the issue 1 attack or approach that the Democrats used last year.
Look, Jim, I agree with you on all of that, but we do have a governor and we do have a speaker and we do have many people in the Ohio House that aren't, if you want to use the term rhino, then that's what I'll use, but that's what they are. I mean, they definitely are working with the Democrats a lot more than me being a Republican would like to see. I mean, I think we need to shake up completely on the Republican side. I don't think the Republican side is as strong as you think, in my opinion.
Well, by the way, you want to fix our state? Here's the number one issue is close the primaries. And I've been traveling the state. Look, in 2022, I never expected this. If you look at the numbers, in 2022, we were assuming there'd be about 980,000 registered voters, Republicans, vote in the Republican primary. There ended up being almost 1.2 million. Well, what happened? Well, what happened was Democrats and independents crossed over and made a decision on who the Republican governor was. What was happening is emails were going out to Democrats, text messages were going out to Democrats. I learned about it. This is 2022. And people were saying to me, you don't understand. They're telling people to stop the radical Renacci from winning the primary. Vote, take your Democrat vote, cross over, and vote for Mike DeWine. When I got that first phone call, I said, it doesn't matter. I said, I'm not worried about it. I said, it doesn't happen that often. But I learned really quickly that almost 230,000 after the election crossed over. So if you really want to fix our system, Republicans should only be able to vote for Republicans. Democrats should only be able to vote for Democrats. If you want to get the rhinos out, let's face it, what helps a rhino win is a Democrat or an independent who leans Democrat crossing over and voting for the Republican candidate they want.
What did you think about that debate the other night?
You know, it's interesting. I thought for sure this was the time for Biden to shine, for Biden to show he could stand up on stage, take the bullets for an hour in questions, and that was reason he wanted to do it. Well, clearly that didn't happen. And what's really scary is Biden should not be in that role. Now he is. He's elected. He's there until the end of this year, but he should not be in that role. And that's what people should have seen. Now, in politics, that's not what people did see. I can tell you that 46% of the people who love Biden are still going to vote for Biden. 46% of the people who love Trump and hate Biden or don't dislike Biden, I shouldn't say hate, and it's vice versa. 46% of the Democrats who like Biden and dislike Trump are going to vote for Biden. 46% who like Trump and dislike Biden are going to vote for Trump. That means the election comes down to about 8% of the people. And what makes it worse, it only comes down to 5 states in our country. Because Ohio's going to vote, I don't think, and I may be wrong here, people think President Trump's going to win by 10, 12 points in Ohio. I don't think so. I think the numbers are going to be closer than normal. He's still going to win. He's still going to win. So he's not going to worry about Ohio. He's got to worry about 5 battleground states, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia. And that's what you see. You see these guys are starting to just focus on those races. And in the end, think about this. The debate's going to be long over by the time November rolls around. There'll be 5 or 6 more things happen between now and November. And then the question is going to be, who turns out? Because if those 8% who don't like either candidate say, I'm not going, I'm not voting, then it's going to be, do the Republicans turn out more or the Democrats turn out more? And my fear is, I hate to say this, Democrats do a better job of turning out. And now that we have a ballot initiative to stop the gerrymandering, that's a Democrat issue. Democrats are going to turn out in November.
All right, so I like Trump, but I'm not an only Trumper. I wasn't a big fan of what he did to you. By the way, I thought tossing you into that race at the very end was not what should have been done. Do you think that the Republican Party would have been better off with somebody other than Trump right now running against Biden in this situation?
Well, look, I think right now the biggest problem is polls are showing that 75% of Americans dislike both candidates, and that's a real problem. It's going to come down to who they like better than the other. I always tell this story. Kellyanne Conway was at an event of mine in 2018, and she was talking about the presidential race in 2016. And she said to me, listen, because I was running against Sherrod Brown at the time.
Yeah.
She said, listen, she goes, I used to tell President Trump used to say, oh, people love me. And she used to say, Mr. Trump, because he wasn't president at that time, it's not that they love you. They dislike her more than you. So we have to make sure that they continue to dislike her more than you. And I think that's what we're going to have in November. Who is disliked the least?
Sure. Jim, I'm gonna go Alex Jones conspiratorial for a minute because I'm sure you're hearing it too. there's a lot of buzz out there that Biden is not going to be the guy, that they're going to hang on till September, and then they're going to slot in Newsom or Whitmer or somebody like that, that where they're not going to have enough time for the Republican Party to properly vet them, going into the election. What do you say to that? And do you see that could have any credence at all?
So here's the problem with that. Let's take Ohio, for example. Ballots go out in Ohio. Overseas ballots go out the second week in August. So ballots will already have Biden's name on them. That's going to be a serious problem. Okay. I think in the end, if they want to do that, they're going to have to do it actually going to have to do it this month. And look, there's only one way to remove Biden from the ballot, because he now controls over $150 million. Remember, they were talking about that in 2016. Republicans were trying to remove Trump at that time. If you remember, John Kasich all the way to the convention was trying to remove Trump. And the only way to do that is to get to control of the money. And everybody realized you can't control the money unless the candidate says, you know what, I'm going to turn over the money. Now, what's interesting about the Democrat Party is they have 717 special delegates that only come in when needed. They're kind of like the cavalry. And
okay.
if Biden were to say, you know what, I've thought about this, I'm just not mentally up to running another 4 years, so I'm going to step away from the nomination and I'm going to hand $150 million over to, he could decide who it's handed over to. You know what's the biggest obstacle? Jill Biden. I think Jill is so power crazy that she is going to run that train right off the cliff.
But could there not be, and I don't know politics this well to know if this could just be craziness, could there not be a case made that he just doesn't have the faculties to make that decision, and then they could replace him and then maybe get a delay on the election or special ballot provision made that if they vote for Biden, it really means for whoever the person would be, something to that effect, because of because of having a true mental deficiency or illness.
Well, look, there is the power for his cabinet to actually say to Congress that he's incapacitated, that his cabinet would have to do that to him. Okay. And, again, there's loyalties. It's so difficult. The best way for this to happen is for his wife. I mean, think about look, this is cruelty. This is cruelty for his wife to not say to him, look, you've had a good run. You've been in office for 50 years. You were the vice president, now the president. Do what's right for the country. We have a lot of living to do outside of Washington. Let's get it done. Let's turn it over. That's what she should do. But, I don't know if you saw that rally the other day. She's standing in front of him. It looks like he's being held up by a pole, and she's standing in front of him. We're going to keep doing this to November. She is now running the campaign. It's very sad. Very sad.
She kept telling what a great job he did on the debate and answered all the questions like he was a 2-year-old out there. And I think she actually came out with some provisions as far as leaving the White House. Like she wants something like a 1.3 million dollar book deal or something like that. She came out with provisions that she wants. Yeah, she is running that show right now. You're absolutely right on that.
Yeah, it's sad. It's really sad to see a guy who I met actually in 2016. The Biden I met in 2016, if it was the same Biden today, which is only 8 years later, he would be it would be very difficult for Trump to defeat him. And I say that because he was a moderate, middle of the road, liked by the independents, all of those things that would be very positive in a race like this, especially when the independents and the moderates are not real happy with former President Trump.
Sure. Jim, does the lawfare thing that happened to Trump, as well as Bannon going to jail today and all that, does that stoke the Republican fires for Trump? Does all of that help Trump, or is that something the media makes up to try and almost point the finger at Republicans and say, look at how stupid you guys are for voting for a felon, or, as they do?
Yeah, I think all that does is harden the base for Trump. I mean, it really helps. If you are that 46%, you are just getting hardened, more and hardened and hardened. That this is your guy, you're voting for him, he's my guy, look at what they've done. And then the other 46% are like, he's a criminal, this is the Democrat side. He's a criminal, he shouldn't be running. And all that did was harden their side. I'm telling you, that 8%, I mean, it's just amazing. I've had a couple people contact me and say, Congressman Renacci, I'm one of the 8%. And I just don't know what to do. And when you hear them talk, you realize they're worried about our country. They're worried about our future. They don't think Biden has the mental capabilities, but they also think they're fearful of Trump. It's like somebody told me, it's incompetence versus dangerous. Now that's not me speaking. That's what those 8% have to think about.
So the Buckeye War Room premieres tonight at 7:00. Who's going to be on tonight?
We got Bob France. We're talking about a lot of issues related to Ohio, House Bill 6. We are talking about the closed primary. Again, it's a starter. We're going to continue to talk about these kind of issues, hopefully making sure people really do start to understand that our state's not going that well. Now, I try to convince people in 2022, it's pretty simple. Look at the statistics. We're in the bottom 15 out of 50 states. We're in the top 5 states for crime and most dangerous cities. But I think you have to say it time and time again. You have to bring other people in. That's going to be the goal. We're just going to want to bring people in and try to educate individuals so they understand, look, the state's not going in the best direction. And there are ways, the things that can be done to change it.
I'm producing for Bob now, so he had a long day today of radio stuff. So I'm sure he'll be ready to go tonight, 7:00, correct?
That's it.
All right.
Where can people watch it?
You can go to jimrenacci.com. You can go to Ohio for Responsible Government .org. You'll see it there, and it's being pushed all over Facebook as well. So most people are seeing it on Facebook. But we're looking forward to kicking it off and having something that continues throughout the next few years.
Yeah, my notes say YouTube also. So yeah, people can watch it all over the place. So check it out tonight, 7:00.
Jim, will you have to end this podcast because you might end up running for governor?
Well, look, I never say nothing. People ask me all the time, "Are you running for governor?" And my answer is, well, look, I'd love to see a businessman become governor. I'd love to see a strong conservative become governor. I'd love to see somebody who understands the concerns of Ohio and become governor. What's interesting? A couple of the guys that are already kind of testing the water, look at their platforms. They're all my 2022 platform. But in 2022, when I was running, they were like, oh, can't get involved. Because you know why? They were part of the establishment, as I call it. But here's the good thing. At least now they're running on my platform. They're using the same platform. And I think if we just find somebody, especially somebody who is, made payroll, had to cover mortgages, understand what it's like to live with the government overreach, I think we could make Ohio one of the top 10 states in the country instead of one of the bottom 15. So, I'm going to play this by ear. A lot of people say, oh, you got to get in if you're going to get in. Look, I think in the end, we need to make sure the right person gets in, the most competent person gets in. But at the same time, we got to get past November of this year. We got to elect a president. We got to elect a senator. We got to get our country straightened out, only because those are the races that are, that are on the books for this year. And then after that, we got to start worrying about 2026.
Well, I'll tell you what, I knew Kasich, fairly well, and DeWine I've had my issues and words with at times. I think we need somebody like you running this thing, and you would have my full support. That's absolute. But I think we need somebody like you in there doing that job, because the past couple have not panned out the way I think Republicans wanted them to pan out. So,
well, and again, remember, closed primaries would have changed that. If the primary was closed in 2022, I truly believe I would have been the governor nominee, but the Republican nominee. But look, I don't look back, I look forward. There's a reason why things happen. We just got to keep plugging forward and doing what we can to make a difference in the future. Here's the one thing about Jim Renacci. Yes, I've lost against two incumbents. I mean, people say, oh, you've lost twice. Well, you know what? I've taken on some pretty big challenges.
Yes, you have.
I had a 6-month window to beat Sherrod Brown and almost beat him. I lost, but I almost beat him with only a 6-month window. At the same time, I took on Mike DeWine, knowing that he had a lot of money. He had 99% name ID. But, here's the problem with politics. Some people get in when they think they can win. I get in to make a difference. When I ran against John Bocelli in 2010, everybody told me, you can't win. I go, I don't care. I'm not running to be a congressman. I'm running to remove somebody. And I was successful. 2 years later, against, who was my opponent? She's now, I see her face, but I can't remember her name. They said, you're running against another incumbent. Well, I'm not running to be another congressman for another 2 years. I'm running to make sure she's removed. And I did that. And that's why I jumped into these races. Anybody can get in a race that, you get into this race, it's an open race, there's no opponent, it's easy to win. Those are for people who want to just be a politician. I want to be somebody who makes a difference and a change. So
Betty
I'll take
Sutton.
on the odds, see what I can do.
Betty Sutton, I think, was who you were running.
Betty Sutton, that was right.
Well, I thank you for coming on tonight. We got to let him go prepare for a show here.
Okay.
7:00 tonight, the Buckeye War Room, Facebook, YouTube, JimRenacci.com, correct?
That's it.
All right. So thank you so much for coming on today, and have a great show tonight. Tell Bob that, we said hello, and, hopefully he's good on your show tonight. So.
We'll do that. I appreciate you having me on. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you.
All right, Jim.
Thanks a lot,
Bye
Jim.
now.
Bye-bye. The great Jim Renacci joining us, and that was fantastic. I love. He's a good man, and
He is.
I think the Buckeye War Room, 7:00 tonight, Facebook, YouTube. I'm going to check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Not just
he's got a
because
lot to
Bob,
say.
my boss, is going to be on there, but Bob France will be the guest tonight.
Yeah, well, you get to hear it tonight and then tomorrow, I'm sure, on Bob's show.
Yes, we'll be replaying. Because Bob's had a busy day. Bob did his show, then Bob filled in for Dennis Prager nationally today.
Okay.
And now he's doing the Buckeye War Room with Jim Renacci tonight. New podcast premieres tonight, 7:00, Facebook, YouTube, JimRenacci.com. Got to make sure to check it out. Thanks to Tom for setting this up for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And good luck to him on doing a podcast.
I know.
We need more guys that are like adept at real politics to be talking about it instead of just dumbbells like me and you that are just, peripheral guys saying, Biden sucks, Trump rules, woo!
Look, I know a little bit just because I listen to Bob. When I'm not eating my granola bars, I'm listening to Bob France, and
right.
I pay attention enough to
wish-
be, somewhat stupid about it.
Now, dude, next time we have Jim on, and I wish we would add more time because I was going to ask him about, he was involved with the Arena Football League. I don't know if you're aware of that or not, but I wanted to ask him. There's a new league that popped up, the IFL. I was watching it this weekend on YouTube. And it's just the Arena Football League with a new name. And I wanted to know if he knew anything about that.
Yeah, and he's got a show coming up in an hour and a half.
Yeah, I don't want to, he's obviously first show too, and he doesn't need to be dicking around answering my Arena Football League question. I just know he was a part of that, and at some point, I mean, we've had him on before, so we'll have him on again, and I will ask the question at that point.
Ohio politics, I don't think people understand, are pretty screwed up right now, and I think we need to get back on track as a state as well as a country. I think he's right there, and I think one of the first steps is getting Bernie Moreno in there because Sherrod Brown has got to go.
No, he's got to go, dude. We got so many people that got to go. Mayor Bibb got to go.
I mean, that's again going back to the first hour of the show. That's he's one of the reasons why this town isn't what it should be. And, you find that in all these different liberal cities across the country. They're just running them into the ground with crime and I mean, businesses are just dying to get out. And
dude, I don't want to go to Cleveland. Dude, I do not want to go to Cleveland for things. I mean, the one thing I would go to Cleveland for, it would be to see my buddy Dave Landau perform, because he performs at Hilarities, about once a year. And more, I'm like, couldn't you just, and I've said this to Dave, so it's not like it's like pride. I'm like, dude, couldn't you just keep playing at the Funny Stop? Because the Funny Stop's not in downtown Cleveland.
Right.
Just walking from the parking garage over to the 4th Street and back, you risk your life. It's scary down there now.
Driving into Florida, you see a sign that says Governor DeSantis. And I don't live there, and there's pride driving and seeing that sign, as opposed to when you come to Ohio and you see Governor Mike DeWine.
Well, DeWine's a douche. I'll say it. You don't have to. But
I'll say it. I'll say it 1,000 times. Screw that guy. But things have got to change. Things have got to change across the country. Things have got to change here in the state, because it's not good. But anyways, Wednesday we will have a show.
Yeah, we'll have a show. I don't know if we have any guests or not, but
I don't know either. But we'll have a show. So and extra content on Wednesday. Go to minds.com. Sign up for the extra content.
Yes, please do.
I quite frankly, I was busy on my vacation and didn't want to do it. So there you go. For all 2 of you who have signed up, there you go. I don't know how many have signed up, but whatever. So extra content on Wednesday and a show. So we will talk to you then. Thanks again to Mr. Jim Renacci for joining us. It was a blast, and thanks to everybody for watching and listening. God willing, we'll talk to you then.
All right.
Sound good to you?
Thanks,
Chris.
That's good. See it.
See it.